What's it like to be in the thick of the realignment landscape? Very special guest joining me today, Tom Wistrcill, Commissioner of the Big Sky Conference, the best FCS football conference around. Tom, it's great to have you here, and let's hop right into it. When the House settlement got announced and there was $2.7 billion in damages to pay, and the Big Ten, SEC, and other power conferences said, yeah, we're going to have 60% of that get paid by everybody else. How'd you react to that?
Well, I had a couple of different thoughts. One is I'm glad the settlement's happening. We need the settlement. It's the best case scenario for all 32 conferences. And so we, the Big Sky Conference, we don't have a problem with the fact that there was a settlement. And that's good for the future. And it's good for the past. What we had a problem with was your second point, and that was what we felt was a very disproportionate amount of damages paid. When 94% of that money, the damages, is going to the A5 football and basketball players, and then to have them only pay 40% of it to their former student athletes, it was quite a gut punch, and it's continued to be that way. So disappointed in the process, know that a legal proceeding doesn't allow for complete openness all the time. But that's not in the spirit of the way the NCAA does business. Typically, we make decisions as a group of 32 that affect all 32. And we didn't have representation. We didn't have a seat at the table, and to have our wages garnished for that money to go to people like Zion Williamson and Joe Burrow. That strikes a really tough chord in the Big Sky Conference.
So if this whole settlement was negotiated and they decided we're going to pay this amount, everybody else going to pay this amount, how did you find out about what would be transpiring and what your league will be required to pay as a result?
Yeah, we had a commissioner's call with all 32 conferences, and Charlie Baker was on, the NCAA CFO and their legal counsel, and basically walked us through, here's what the settlement is, here's what happens with the look back. The first part of it is the damages for the previous 6 years before NIL, and then the second part of it, which is the next 10 years. So they walked us through that, and that's when they announced how the finances were going to work.
As you've watched this whole process and landscape change over the last several years in college athletics as a commissioner of a conference, what would you say puzzles or confuses you the most? What makes you look and go, why are we doing this, or can we not find a better way to do that outside of this specific settlement?
Yeah, I think it's that college athletics, we used to strike somewhat of a balance between money and providing great opportunities for student athletes to go to college, play athletics, and graduate. And now every decision is all about money. Conference expansion, the unsettlement that's out there, the choppy waters, it's all driven by money and greed. And I'm a believer, once you sell yourself to money, you'll always sell yourself to money. And that's where we found ourselves. So, I've been in this business for 30 years, never seen it like this. Disappointing that we're here. And now we got to figure out a way to find our way through.
How do you, running an FCS football and basketball conference with a variety of other sports as well, but how do you try and position yourself to be in one of strength when so many things are changing in school? I do play-by-play for Southern Utah, and we're having schools leave our league this year and next year. UTRGV and Stephen F. Austin are going back to the Southland, and you've got Seattle U and GCU going to the West Coast Conference. What's kind of your thought process when you see those moves and you think about how you continue to position your league to be in one of strength?
Yeah, all we can do in the Big Sky is worry about what we can control. So we focus in on that. How can we be the best we can be? We feel like we're the true college athletics because we still talk about graduation. We still talk about providing broad-based athletic programs in a regional way, and not just about the money. So So we focus in on that. We discuss that. We just finished our spring meetings with our presidents and ADs and faculty reps and senior women's administrators, and we talked about all of those things. We talked about the changing landscape. We talked about everything happening around us. We talked about there's some things we should do, some moves we should make, some things we don't want to do. But we always come back to kind of our core values of what we're about, and that's providing our student athletes a great experience, providing them an education, an opportunity to graduate and play athletics at a level that they love. And so that's how we do it. That's how we making sure we focus on what we can control and things that happen around us. We pay attention to them and we're aware and we discuss those, but we're not going to let those dictate the way we manage our business.
I've talked several times on this show about something that to me seems plain and obvious, that I'm not confident the Big Ten and the SEC always have the broader public's best interests in mind in college athletics, and they just continue. And I thought the House settlement decision that affects your conference and many others was just kind of the latest example of that they are, they're bulldozers and they're just clearing a path to set themselves up to be these major power players in college athletics. Do you see any way that those two leagues kind of breaking away? For now, they haven't formally, of course, broken away, but just kind of metaphorically, they're pulling away, the widening gap between them and everybody else. Do you see any way that can ever slow down?
No, but I don't necessarily think that's bad. The way I look at it is those two conferences are so strong, so powerful. From a media perspective, just the revenue they can generate, they just run a different business than the rest of us do. So I don't have any ill will towards them because, I worked at two of those schools in the Power Five, or the Power Two. They do their business and they're really good at it. So they're going to continue to grow and dominate, and they're going to settle where they settle. What they leave behind, that's what's going to be interesting. The two other conferences, the G5, FCS, who knows what that looks like with us someday. But, because I can see a day where the two of them break away, and I wouldn't blame them one bit because their business is so different from 95% of the rest of the NCAA. In some ways, it's like basketball is the only thing that binds us together is the wonderful March Madness for men's and women's basketball. Other than that, we're so dissimilar. So, like I said, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, and I don't have any ill will towards them. I do feel concerned about, is anyone looking out for kind of the good of college athletics
or the athletes?
And we don't have a commissioner over college athletics. The NCAA exists, but the power seems to be with the commissioners and the presidents at the A2 level. And so, that's where we're at right now. And I don't know how that plays out. But, like I said, as long as these waters are so choppy, anything could happen.
I converse with and run into just, in my daily life or on the golf course anywhere, fans that feel discouraged at times with realignment, NIL, portal, like all these just big, massive changes. It feels very different. And something that I remind people of is once the games start again, it'll be easy to forget about that. But right now, I understand why people are focused on it and can feel discouraged by it. What would be your message to those people who look at college athletics and say, this is too different from what I grew up with, from what I remember, this is frustrating, this part's annoying, or I don't care for this and that. What do you say to those fans about where college athletics is?
Well, I think change is inevitable in every part of our lives. And, whether it be technology. Years ago, before you were born, Spencer, we never dreamed we'd have cell phones, right? that would do these unbelievable things, right? Now look at us. So change is inevitable. We have to embrace change. I've encouraged our coaches, it's kind of like the transfer portal. We can argue and fight about it all we want, but it's here to stay. So the coaches that embrace it are going to be the most successful. So that's what we have to do, whether it's people like us that work in the business or just general fans. You got to embrace change. You got to get closer with those athletic programs you support and realize that success can mean different things to different people. Some schools are chasing national championships. Others love to just provide a great outlet for their community to come together and celebrate sports. And that's the cool thing about college sports. There's all different opportunities to be part of it. And we don't have to always be together. We don't always have to try to do things the same. But change continues to happen, and we're not done yet. And we'll see how it plays out. But from the Big Sky perspective, like I said, I feel good about where we're at and what we're doing it. We're doing it for the right reasons. And we got really good leadership in our presidents and ADs that help keep us on track.
Brawl of the Wild being on College game day is something I will be lobbying for myself in the fall. It's a fantastic environment, and there are a lot of great FCS programs out there, many of them in the Big Sky. And we're so fortunate to have had Tom Wistrcill, Commissioner of the Big Sky Conference. Tom, thank you so much for stopping by.
Happy to be on, Spencer. Good luck to you.
Thank you. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time, which makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier if you want to go. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down as they get closer to tip-off. Not up, they go down. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever you're looking for, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege with college in all caps for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.